Forget everything you know about scale if this was colossal. But deep in Argentina, fragments revealed a titan unlike any other. And the initial discovery sparked intense scientific debate about its true dimensions. This environment, rich in Cretaceous strata, held the secret of the giants. Now that we understand X, let's explore why sheer mass. To support its bulk, Argentinosaurus required an entirely different biological blueprint. Estimates place its weight potentially exceeding 70 metric tons. Its vertebrae were massive, honeycombed structures designed for lightness and strength. But these air sacs reduced density, crucial for maneuvering such a monumental frame. The legs had to function as living, biological pillars of support. I imagine the immense pressure exerted on every single joint and tendon. And the sauropods dominated this epoch, reaching sizes never since replicated. Skin impressions, though rare, suggest thick, protective integument. Movement itself was an act of immense, slow-motion physics. Each step compressed the earth, leaving temporary depressions in the soft soil. Its presence dictated the movement and survival strategies of smaller fauna. Estimates of length push this animal toward 30 meters or more. The height of its back likely rivaled some of the smallest modern structures. Yet, for all its size, the head remained remarkably diminutive. The feeding apparatus had to process hundreds of kilograms of vegetation daily. This necessitated an incredibly efficient, near-constant intake of plant matter. Energy distribution across this scale presented unique physiological hurdles. And it occupied a literal niche unreachable by most other herbivores. Its teeth were not for chewing, but purely for stripping and ingestion. The tail, a massive counterweight, provided balance during feeding maneuvers. But even resting, the Argentinosaurus profoundly altered its immediate surroundings. But how did such mass persist without skeletal collapse during locomotion? The answer lies in sophisticated biomechanical adaptations found in its structure. The reconstruction remains an educated hypothesis built upon scattered evidence. Gaps in the fossil record force paleontologists to extrapolate conservative estimates. The hip girdle must have been an engineering marvel, anchoring immense weight. A defense relied less on agility and more on sheer, unassailable size. Water provided temporary respite from the constant gravitational strain. A buoyancy partially supported the weight, easing the burden on its limbs. The perception was likely focused on immediate threat and distant food sources. Its cardiovascular system must have rivaled industrial machinery in output. The ecological niche it occupied was defined purely by its appetite. Were they solitary titans, Or did herds navigate these ancient plains together? Even their reproductive cycle must have been slow and extraordinarily long-lived. The sheer investment required for a single successful offspring is staggering. Juveniles likely entered an explosive growth phase to catch up with the scale. It dwarfed even large contemporary carnivores, rendering them insignificant threats. Its sheer mass likely influenced local microclimates and dust dispersal patterns. But paleontology demands that we view these creatures not as beasts, but as moving ecosystems. The integrated view allows us to appreciate the biological feasibility of this magnitude. On every surface tells a story of growth, stress, and millions of years survive. Migration routes would have been dictated by vast caloric needs across seasons. Respiration involved an incredibly large lung capacity relative to land mammals. The sheer volume of biomass this creature required shaped the entire biome. It represented a disproportionate amount of living matter in its time. Accidental destruction was simply part of moving through its habitat. Musculature connection points reveal areas of extreme load bearing over its lifetime. Unrest was a vulnerable, yet necessary, pause in its endless caloric quest. Uneven resting, its colossal metabolism continued demanding fuel input. Comparing it to modern vehicles helps grasp the engineering challenge it overcame. This creature pushed the known physical boundaries of terrestrial gigantism. The rock itself records the passage of these phenomenal, heavy beings. But their presence was a geological force, impacting sedimentation and soil composition. Every new piece recovered refines the picture of this magnificent, massive existence. But Argentinosaurus remains the ultimate testament to the potential of life's scale.